Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6 p.m. time for the news bulletin on Channel 2. I am Bethha, and starting off with the main headlines of the day. President Sisi exchanges greeting cables with Arab leaders marking Eid al-Adha. Israeli occupation strikes claim at least 10 Palestinian martyrs across Gaza. And Putin says ready to help Trump on Iran nuclear negotiations. Welcome back, the news in full. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi today exchanged greeting cables with Arab and Muslim leaders on the occasion of Eid al-Adha. The president expressed his heartfelt greetings to the Arab leaders, prayed to God to accept their supplications and prayers and to bless their peoples as well as those of the Arab nation with more progress, stability and welfare. To the same end, President Sisi sent a greeting cable to Egyptian expatriates carried by Egypt's embassies and consulates abroad, wishing them a happy, blessed feast. The head of state also received greeting cables from senior statesmen on the occasion. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi received a phone call from Bahraini King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, during which King Hamad has extended his greetings to the president on the occasion of Eid al-Adha, wishing Egypt and its people progress and prosperity. The head of state also received another phone call from Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, and both leaders exchanged greetings on Eid al-Adha, wishing blessings to the peoples of the two countries and the Islamic nation. President Sisi received a phone call from Sultan of Oman, Haytham bin Tariq Al Said, on the occasion of Eid al-Adha, wishing Egypt peace and blessing. Meanwhile, President Sisi thanked the Sultan of Oman, stressing the depth of historical relations between the two countries. The head of state also asserted keenness on boosting joint cooperation in various domains. The president also received a phone call from Tunisian President Kais Saied, greeting President Sisi on the occasion. The Tunisian president wished Egypt as well as Arab and Islamic nations peace and blessings. For his part, President Sisi expressed sincere wishes of more security and progress for Tunisia and its people. And pilgrims prayed atop Mount Arafat on Thursday during the high point of the annual Hajj pilgrimage. Thousands of pilgrims gathered before dawn around the hill and the surrounding plain where the Prophet Muhammad is believed to have given his last sermon. While some arrived early to take advantage of the relatively cool morning, many pilgrims will remain for hours of prayers and Quran recitals until the evening in the most arduous portion of the Hajj. After sunset, they will head to Muzdalifah, halfway between Arafat and the sprawling tent city of Mena, where they will gather pebbles so they can perform the symbolic stoning of the devil. Minister of Foreign Immigration and Egyptian Expatriates Affairs Badr Abdulati said today that Egypt attaches a top priority to enhance cooperation with Rwanda in different fields in the framework of the strong ties binding both nations. In a phone call with Rwanda Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Egypt's top diplomat discussed the latest regional challenges facing Africa and pressed for restoring calm in the Great Lakes area as helping to regain stability in the entire region. He reiterated Egypt's complete support for all development efforts in the continent. Gaza's Civil Defense Agency said that Israeli strikes killed at least 10 people in the battered Palestinian territory on Thursday as the Israeli military keeps up an intensified offensive. Agency spokesman Mahmoud Bassal said 10 martyrs so far resulting from Israeli strikes since dawn, adding that they had targeted an area where displaced civilians were sheltering in the southern city of Khan Yunis and houses in Gaza City and the central town of Deir al-Balah. Palestinian Health Ministry said at least 4,335 had been killed since Israel resumed its offensive on March 18, taking the war overall toll to 54,607, mostly civilians. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Thursday that the bodies of the 2 Israeli Americans held by Hamas were retrieved in a special operation in Khan Yunis. The occupation army said in a statement that the rescue operation was conducted in coordination with the Intelligence Directorate and Special Forces. An occupation military added that the couple were killed on the morning of October 7. UN Security Council members criticized the United States after it vetoed a resolution calling for a ceasefire and unrestricted humanitarian access in Gaza, which Washington said undermined ongoing diplomacy. It was the 15-member body first vote on the situation since November, when the United States also blocked a text calling for an end to fighting. United Nations envoy Dorothy Shias said that this resolution would undermine diplomatic efforts to reach a ceasefire that reflects the realities on the ground. A private company distributing aid in Gaza backed by the U.S. and Israel had yet to reopen its distribution sites in the enclave by mid-morning on Thursday, a day after shutting them following a series of deadly shootings close to its operations. The U.S.-based Gaza Humanitarian Foundation said that its sites would not open at their usual time due to maintenance and repair work. It did not say when aid distribution would resume. The visiting EU Commissioner for the Mediterranean said on Thursday that €175 million package for war-torn Syria was a clear message of support for its reconstruction. She announced that package in Damascus, saying it will focus on sectors including energy, education, health, and agriculture, helping rebuild Syria's economy, support its institutions, and promote human rights. She noted that Syrian Foreign Minister Asad al-Shaybani would attend a ministerial meeting involving almost a dozen Mediterranean countries in Brussels on June 23rd. Kiev said 2 people had died after a Russian strike on army training facilities in eastern Ukraine, days after a similar strike saw a high-ranking officer resign. Moscow has targeted military sites like bases far from the front, spurring online criticism in Ukraine that army officials are not doing enough to secure their safety. The missile strike in the Poltava region on Wednesday came after an attack on Sunday on military training grounds that killed 12 soldiers. The Kremlin said that Russian President Vladimir Putin is ready to help resolve the standoff between Iran and the United States over Tehran's nuclear program. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters that President Putin was ready to use this partnership to help resolve the Iranian nuclear issue. After a call between the leaders on Wednesday, U.S. President Donald Trump said that Putin had offered to take part in talks on Tehran's nuclear program, as Trump accused Iran of slow-walking its response to Washington's offer of a deal. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un vowed to unconditional support Russia in its war in Ukraine and that he expected Moscow to emerge victorious. North Korea has become one of Moscow's main allies during its more than 3-year Ukraine offensive, sending thousands of troops and container loads of weapons to help the Kremlin oust Ukrainian forces from Russia's Kursk border region. Global shares were mostly higher on Thursday after Wall Street's big recent rally lost some momentum following a pair of potentially discouraging reports on the American economy. French CAC 40 added 0.3%, while the German DAX rose 0.5%. Britain FTSE 100 rose 0.1%, and the future for the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 0.2%. The future for the S&P 500 gained 0.1%. In Asian trading, Japan benchmark Nikkei 225 shed 0.5%, while Australia 200 was little changed. Also, Kospi increased 1.5%, and Hong Kong Hang Seng gained 1.1%, while the Shanghai rose 0.21%. The International Energy Agency said that investment in clean energy technologies is set to strike a record this year, despite global economic uncertainty, double the spending on fossil fuel that will dip for the first time since 2020. The IEA said security concerns as well as rising demand for electricity, including from artificial intelligence and data centers, is driving investment in clean energy sources. In its latest annual World Energy Investment Reports, the IEA expects investment in clean technologies, including nuclear and electricity distribution grids, to hit records $2.2 trillion this year. And Egypt's White Castle of Al Zamalek faced Pyramids FC at Egypt Cup final on Thursday at the Cairo International Stadium. The White Knights have endured a turbulent season, finishing third in the Egyptian League, while Pyramids are riding high after clinching their first ever CAF Champions League title, defeating South Africa Sundowns in the final. Thursday final will be their fourth game in 13 days, including 3 decisive matches across competitions. The two sides met in the Egypt Cup final in 2019, but Zamalek won 3-0 when they lifted their 27th Cup title. Cristiano Ronaldo scored the winner as Portugal fall back to beat Germany 2-1, with the 40-year-old bagging his 137th international goal to send them into the Nations League final. It was Portugal's first win over Germany since 2000, with Ronaldo's goal earning them a spot in their second Nations League final after winning their inaugural. After winning the edition in 2019, Spain and France will clash in the other semi-final on Thursday to decide who will face Portugal in the decider on Sunday. Dear viewers, by that we come to the end of our news bulletin. Thanks for watching, and that was Basma Taha signing off.